Let me give you my impression of my reaction to energy prices right now when I opened up my energy bill. What? Yes. Now, you probably recognize that from your own energy bill usage. Yeah, energy is getting kind of expensive here because, reasons. This is why one of the important things is that there are options for you like solar, which is a fantastic option for you. And we need to talk more about this, especially since the rules against this stuff is getting more complicated due to kind of the decisions of the federal government. And so you need someone that's going to be able to help you navigate how to take care of this, especially for commercial buildings. Now, once again, residences are one thing. For commercial buildings, these energy prices are got to be extraordinary. That's why it's a good idea, especially if you got a roof that you can put some solar panels on. Exploring the idea of the reliability and cost efficiency of solar is a good idea. And All Energy Solar is going to be having a commercial solar lunch and learn to cover the greater detail about solar power for commercial buildings. This is going to be on Friday from noon until 1:30 at their offices in St. Paul. Kind enough to join us right now to talk a little bit about this is Michael Thalhimer. He is the Director of Business Development for All Energy Solar, and he's kind enough to take some time today to talk about this. Hi, Michael. How are you today?
Hi, Matt. Thanks for having me. Great to be a part of the AM 950 family again. Thanks for connecting.
Well, and thank you because, and once again, we're kind of all in this together. There's a lot of people that are kind of coming under fire, and I made the joke last hour about Trump now recommends we all eat coal, but that's kind of not exactly far from the truth. I mean, this idea that solar power is something that they're trying to stop. The reality is solar power is proven time and time again to be pretty much the best way to go for energy. It's clean, it's efficient, and it's cost effective. I mean, it's a win-win-win across the board.
Yeah, it is true, and that's something that I think that we have a lot of discussions all the time with customers who are reaching out to us, and they unfortunately get concerned by what they're hearing in the media and in some of the leaders in Washington kind of attacking these renewable alternative sources of energy, when really the main intention of them is to help people lower their operating costs, whether you're at your house or managing your family's books or at a large or a small business trying to keep the lights on for your employees and customers. So without a doubt, we know we've got great technology at our fingertips, and in spite of some of the changes that are coming through, we are confident that there's still a great place for this and that we can still help a lot of people along the way.
Now, we're not going to talk necessarily about residential today, but if you are interested in residential solar power options, All Energy Solar, give them a call. Let's talk a little bit about commercial, though, because there has been there have been a lot of companies out there that have realized they've got a lot of roof space. 80% of it is open and available to put something on, and they're looking at their energy costs too, and they're realizing if you can end up cutting that monthly check down dramatically, well, that's a win-win across the board. Talk about that, because this is something which you're seeing more and more companies embrace the idea of commercial solar power.
That's true. And I think when you look just broadly at businesses and the way they spend their money and they operate, payroll, mortgage, and energy, those are the top three. It's really hard to cut down your payroll if you don't cut your people, right? And if you're going to try and grow your business, hopefully that's still a part of your plan. Mortgage, payments that can fluctuate depending on the circumstances, but a lot of times you find properties are under a mortgage or under a lease. Energy is one of these constant factors that's always increasing. We haven't seen energy rates decrease with any great duration for decades, and nobody who can opine about where energy costs are heading, even as our energy mix diversifies, are suggesting that we're going to start paying less for energy over time. So with that, alternative energy like solar gives a great solution that not only has a lot of benefit early, but also the long tail of benefit is dramatic, because if you can offset as much of the energy that you have to pay for from your utility day in and day out, that's going to pay dividends that just increase with time. And that's something that more and more businesses realize the value is significant.
We have to discuss this a little bit like a tax preparer or a financial advisor. The policy initiatives around solar, as we have learned, are changing almost daily. You got state issues. Sometimes you have local issues. You also have federal issues there. Having you guys to navigate that for people, talk about that, because I mean, I imagine there is an element of education that you yourselves have had to constantly being like an accountant, like a financial advisor. You're constantly have to stay on top of it because you need to make sure you're understanding the rules and how to get the maximum benefits for a customer.
Without a doubt. And we have a phrase that we've coined in the industry called the solar coaster. And a lot of times that's because you feel this kind of up and down movement of new policies entering and exiting the market, new rules and regulations to follow that apply one year, but maybe not the next. That's true. But what's important is that you have a trusted partner to demystify that for you. And that's something that we hold, really closely to the intentions that we have at All Energy Solar with every customer. Be transparent and upfront, but also be knowledgeable about the specific, really micro level implications for a customer's property. I might have a client that has commercial facilities across the entire state of Minnesota or other states around the country. We could devise the same project solution for each of those facilities, but the actual story of how the net flows of benefits come back to the business might be different site by site. And that's okay. It's just important that, again, you have that reliable source to guide you along the way and show you that true value in this type of project exists. But really drill down to the specifics of your property, your business, your facility, your utility provider, and sometimes your city and state, because programs do vary. And that's part of what keeps us busy every day.
And it's not something that you want to, and nothing against other people. I mean, there are people that do this stuff on the side and stuff, but you've gotten to the point now where you need to have a specialist like All Energy Solar involved in this because of the complexities of this. Talk a little bit about safe harboring, because the way I understand it, you're looking at, for a lot of companies, this is a large scale project. And so you need to make sure you have people that understand not just the current situation, but how to maximize the current situation as that situation can change down the road, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So what's been talked about a lot in 2025 as the big, beautiful bill has been passed through the legislature is, what does this mean for us relative to some of the really robust tax incentives that have always been a part of the conversation? I say always, but for the last several decades, we've had the ability to leverage tax benefits that the government has supported here in the United States. There's a lot of new rules to follow. And one of them that's particularly important for business owners to be aware of is that these really robust tax incentives are now going to face a much shorter time horizon before they're gone. But unlike our colleagues and friends that focus in the residential space, there is no sharp cliff for commercial properties at the end of this year. And you just alluded to kind of the choice phrase of the year right now, which is safe harbor. This is a tax provision that's still within the tax laws that allows a commercial property to just activate essentially their project with some minimal investment in the current year, and essentially earmark or reserve the full value of the tax credits that are associated with the purchase, and give that business many years of runway ahead of this year to actually complete that project. The rules do start to change in 2026 and 2027, 2028, before a lot of these credits are projected now to be eliminated. But we still have time to help a lot of businesses now secure the most value. And that's why we're as busy as we are as we approach the fourth quarter here. You and I have talked about the cost. I think the way you said at the beginning is like your biggest ones are payroll, mortgage, and energy. So you can't really cut the other two. So you can look at energy. You look at as well, kind of getting through the weeds and getting through the confusion of all this, and having an expert there with you to be able to guide you into this project. Let's talk about this as far as, I imagine there are some people out there that might be the decision makers or the owners of a company. It's like, okay, I'd like to do this, but I don't want to disrupt my production. I don't want to disrupt my office. Talk a little bit about that, because I imagine for the most part, there is, when it comes to this stuff, the way I'm seeing it installed, it really isn't much of a disruption at all, really, correct? Absolutely. Our aim is to provide a service that doesn't disrupt a customer's business. We can typically mobilize our installation teams to a commercial property and complete effectively the entire installation work, whether that takes a couple of days or even a couple of weeks, without having them adjust their operating schedule, without having their employees need to take days off of coming in to the facility. We do tie in our systems to the power infrastructure at the property. So there's a bit of collaboration with the utility provider and a bit of downtime to connect those systems safely when it's time to do that. But we work around our customers' schedules. And this is something that we really pride ourselves in, is just being extremely collaborative and communicative with our customers so they know exactly what to expect, but not to interfere with their operating business. And that doesn't just go for the installation part of the project. There's a lot of development from the time you have a concept in front of you to the time our trucks show up with the installation. And we don't aim to deter any attention away from the core business while we in the background are working to prepare everything that's necessary to make that project a success. So minimal impact in terms of, keeping the lights on, keeping your employees and your machines operating. And yet at the end of the process, we really accentuate the operation once our projects are switched on and the customer's up and running with solar.
And if you're in management of a company, and there's another element too, which I like to talk about, because I know people that work for companies that do have solar. You get a better relationship with the employee, you get a better relationship with the customer, because it shows a commitment there that's not just a fly-by-night kind of thing. You're looking at doing the responsible thing. And whether that is your employees or the customers, that conveys a very good point to everyone out there.
Yeah, it feels good to be able to provide a service and a good that doesn't just satisfy one purpose or one need. And that's really the case with solar energy. Certainly, it's going to affect the bottom line of the business. You're going to have a lot more cash in the bank to free up for other endeavors that you have when you're not paying as much as you're used to in utility costs. But without a doubt, the sustainability message, even if the current administration is trying to tamp that down right now, look around the world. That is not going away. That is an important factor, and people do care about that. So it's really important that businesses are taking their communities, their constituents, their customers, and their employees' feelings for these types of projects to heart. And also there's a lot of objectives that we have as individuals and as companies and as cities and as states that are separate from maybe the agenda of the federal government. And we need to obviously hold what's closest to us close to our heart and make sure that we feel confident that we're doing the right thing for what we need today, but also what we need tomorrow. These projects are perfect for that. And if we can do our job as well as we should and are supposed to, then it's a win-win. And that's why we have as many happy customers as we do.
Well, and you talk about this on a federal level. You're also not subject to the incompetence of another state mismanaging their power grid and everyone else having to pay for that. I mean, that's something, it takes kind of that, moves some of that off the table of that. I appreciate that as well. I imagine a lot of those executives appreciate that too.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, I love my job. A lot of it is because I get to speak with so many different business owners at all different levels. At the core of our good conversations is people wanting to make a difference and to save money, because everything is becoming so much more expensive to do. But also, I think a lot of the passion behind some of the projects that people typically engage with in businesses kind of gets left behind. It comes right to the forefront with these projects, and it's really something that we see across our entire coverage territory, which is all of Minnesota and beyond. Really resonates with our customers, and something that we're proud of too.
Obviously, if it's a new construction, obviously you guys can go in there from the get-go and take care of that. Generally, once again, too, but established businesses, established buildings, you guys have a lot of experience with this stuff. You guys can make it work no matter where you're talking about, right?
For sure. There's more new construction activity that's looking to incorporate just efficiencies in general than ever, and that will continue. So we are more active in the new construction space as an organization here than ever. But retrofitting buildings is still probably 90% of what we do. And I say buildings, but really taking an existing facility with a rooftop that's currently static and not necessarily generating any particular revenue for the business. It's just a roof over your head, and turning that into an energy system that actually drives value to the bottom line. There are considerations for which buildings are right for that and which maybe are not. And that's another part of that kind of transparency we need to bring to those early conversations. But we're specialists in that. We help customers figure out exactly what the right solution should be or could be for the property. And we'll tell somebody straight up if it doesn't feel like a good opportunity, and we'll tell them exactly why. And that doesn't mean they can't advocate for what we do, but we want to make sure that if we are retrofitting an existing facility with a new system like this, that that customer is getting exactly what they expect, and they're going to be set up for success for a really long time with the new project.
Michael, it's one of the things which the whole point of this entire conversation for me is there's corporations out there who might have like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this. We've just basically shot down anything that you could say that doesn't work. We talked about cost, talked about the confusion of it all, talked about the ability to get it retrofitted to a building, the savings you're going to get. These are basic questions which sometimes discourage people from talking. We've just gone through them all. This is a good idea. And so this is now where you take over, and let's talk a little bit about what's going on Friday, sure. Because now is the chance for you. Okay, so we kind of knocked down those initial objections. Now is the time for you to go get the meat and potatoes about this and bring your business to Michael and All Energy Solar and actually get the more details about how your company can basically take advantage of this.
Yeah, thanks. And we're, we're opening our doors at our office in St. Paul. We're right by the fairgrounds off Energy Park Drive. Yeah. It's going to be a lunch and learn style format. So we're catering in lunch on Friday. It'll be from 12 to 1:30. And just what you said, Matt, we're going to take people through a little bit of the general information that we just discussed today, but really dig more into some of the policy changes, and in particular, some of the critical deadlines and timelines that are coming up over the next 12 to 24 months that will help customers get in the best position to leverage the most incentive and programming that's out there. And we also just want to bring people in to kind of see who we are and see the established organization we've got here, hear about a lot of different types of customers that we've served, see our office, see our warehouse, meet our team, and then hopefully take us up on the opportunity to do an evaluation, which is our cost of doing business, but we don't have the opportunity to do that unless we're invited to investigate. And that's what we do really well. So if there's any interest from the listeners out there to join us this Friday, our website, we have a special link to find out about this event and register for it. It's just allenergysolar.com/lunch. That should be easy to remember, but that gets you to a great set of details about the event. We welcome any business or commercial property owner to join us. We just ask that you RSVP, and we'd love to tell you more great information that can help you come to this type of decision here in the near future.
allenergysolar.com/lunch.
You got it. Everyone loves lunch.
It does. Well, and also for anyone out there, call All Energy Solar. Just give them a call. They'll help you out and get you all set up for this. And I do want to remind people, this is going to be on Friday, noon to 1:30 at their offices off right by the fairgrounds there. So easy to get to. And it's lunch on them for you to get the information. I mean, that's a win-win across the board. And it could end up saving you a lot of money in your company. And I think that at the end of the day, that's the key here. And it does work. I mean, we now know this is the way the rest of the world is going this way. You need to go this way too, because it's definitely going to be there are multiple advantages to do this. Michael, I appreciate the time. All my best on this. It's good to chat with you guys again. And thank you very much for the time today.
Thanks. We love all you guys at AM 950. Appreciate your time, and thanks for having me.
Michael Thalhimer is once again the Director of Business Development at All Energy Solar. Michael, thanks a bunch again, and all my best to you on